What's up, everybody? This is Tim from Arm Wrestling Secrets, and today I wanted to talk about what I consider to be the most important skill for winning in arm wrestling. Okay, so reaction time. Reaction time. Okay, now when you watch arm wrestling and you see what's going on up there, remember two people are obviously trying two different techniques. Okay, and they're trying to win, obviously. Okay, but now think about arm wrestling as a Western gunfight. Okay, you ever see the movies? Obviously, they didn't happen very much in real life, apparently, but they did happen. And in the movies, you see the two guys in the cowboy Western town. They walk up to each other and they got the guns, right? And one of them, they draw on each other, and the one with the faster reaction time, assuming he shoots the other guy, the faster reaction time wins, okay? Sometimes the guy with the faster reaction time misses and he gets shot, but you know what I mean, okay? So, if two opponents are the same in strength and other skills, okay, just to have an example to work with here, okay, let's say two people are across from each other, they're exactly the same height, they're the same length, they're the same person, all else being the same, reaction time, the person that responds quickest, assuming they set up the same way, you have to make all these assumptions, and we'll talk about why I think this is the most important skill, because that's a big statement, okay? Is assuming two opponents are the same, they have set up the same, okay, and one of them is going to win the match, okay? The one with the faster reaction time to the go. Ready, go. And they're in their move. They're in their move within less than a second, definitely, of the ref saying go. Both opponents are trying for the move instantly, and one will be faster than another. Or I suggest that reaction time is certainly one of the most important factors that I've witnessed in arm wrestling at any spectrum. But the better you get at it, the quicker you can get to your movement, the quicker you can control the opponent's hand, or the quicker you can get to your movement, the quicker you can put the opponent out of position. Okay, so let's say, just for a small example, let's say you're taking the hook, you're doing the hook on someone, they're trying the high hand top roll. Okay, two kind of opposing moves. Okay, and that's a good example. Is if the top roller reacts first, ready, go, and then the hooker tries to react, his hand gets flopped over, he gets pinned. We've all seen that. We've seen that 1,000 times. Same example. The hooker wins this time, right? Okay. Ready, go, and the top roller guy gets stuck in his hook. He's like this, and he's stuck, and his arm goes down, and the hook guy wins. The difference there oftentimes is reaction time. Okay, it's your ability to just react really quickly. And we talk on this channel, we've talked about, especially if you watch my video series or you watch some of the things I've been touching on lately, we've been talking about counter techniques and counter moves and stuff like that. But remember, I don't want to go on with the video series before I touch on the importance of reaction time. Okay, you have to work on reaction time. And we've talked about how to work on quick starts and matches and things like that, but these are things you can work on yourself. And when I get my table out to do some of the solo demonstrations, I'll show you what I mean on the table, but this is simple to demonstrate here and simple to talk about, is working on instant starting. And some of the things I've been talking, and I think some of the things that I think have been very instructive to some of the arm wrestlers out there are discussions about not moving your body prior to, let's say, like the hook movement, okay? Where you're set up for your movement, okay? And this is easier to show from the side, okay? You're set up for your movement, and it's ready, go. It's not ready, go. And you're trying to combine 5 things in one thing. Okay, you just focusing on, for me, at least my I don't know what some people are doing. I just think the most efficient thing to do is focus on one thing instantly on the go. So if I'm going for the hook, as a perfect example, okay, ready, go. And I'm not focused on, I'm just focused on getting that wrist position instantly. If I can change, the match changes instantly. We went from a starting fair position to I'm in an offensive hook position. I have a majority of my strong muscles engaged. His hand is turned up. His pronator is under attack. His bicep is under attack. And no matter how strong it is, it won't be as strong as all of the back pressure muscles that I have available. Now think about that just for a second. Just come right back to where we started. We were here. Ready, go. Okay, now if I'm second, it could be ready, go. Right? I mean, think about that. That's the difference. That is the difference. Assuming that you have the strength and the skill and the techniques available to you that the opponent is. If the opponent's a lot better or a lot stronger than you, they don't necessarily need to be as fast, okay? We've all taken on somebody. If you've taken on like a little kid or something in arm wrestling, you could be having a conversation with someone and they could be arm wrestling you and you're kind of just messing around there because you don't really need the strength. But when you're having skilled opponents, okay, especially for arm wrestling tournaments, which you know this channel is all about preparation for arm wrestling competition, tournament style competition, not horsing around in the garage. Remember, when you're in the garage with your friends or you're just messing around, and I say that respectfully, but if you're not training for tournaments, you're just going to be like, all right, are you ready? Okay, go. And you're just going to kind of arm wrestle. That is not a tournament start. It's not. And that's why I talk about the difference between hobby arm wrestling and tournament arm wrestling. They are two totally different things. The sport is the same. Once you're starting and you're arm wrestling, it's the same. Tournament arm wrestling success is very much dependent on starting very quickly. Some of the best arm wrestlers in the world, they are so fast that it's on the verge of false starting all the time. And some guys that I know, they basically false start and wait for the ref to catch them. Or if the ref doesn't start the match over, they'll just be like, yeah, and they'll just walk into the crowd and they'll just be like, they'll just take the win. And if the ref doesn't stop them, they'll just keep on going. Seriously. So starts happen so fast at tournaments, you need to be aware of it, and you need to be thinking about that right now. No matter what age you are, no matter where you are in your arm wrestling career, come back to thinking about your reaction time, all of your strength, all of your skills, all the work you're putting into your top rolling and your hooking and all of the different pain and suffering that you're going through to get good at arm wrestling. Remember, it can all be destroyed instantly if your opponent is faster than you. Okay, if you have all the strengths and you spend all the time working on all of the skills and defenses and counters and everything else, but your opponents are lightning fast and you're just getting out of position, you can't control the match, or you can't stop the match, or you can't slow down the opponent. It's probably because in the blink of an eye, less than that, your arm can be out of position to where whatever move you were working on, let's say you were going for your posting top roll and the person is high hooking or going for a perfect counter to that. Okay, you can have this great plan of being like, all right, on go, I'm gonna be pulling up. Okay, if the other person starts faster than you, what's gonna happen is ready, go, and your arm's going to fly out of position and the top roll is destroyed once you've lost your line of attack. Your hand is out to the side. Look. So your perfect posting top roll, if you don't start first, can go from this winning position to 1, 2, 3, and you have no move and you have no defense, and suddenly you're away from your body and your arm's going the wrong way, and you know how that ends. It's going to end in a loss. Okay, so I think you know where I'm going with this. Reaction time is extremely important, and I think it's not only worth working on, it's something you need to be thinking about right now for your arm wrestling career and for winning at the table. If you were just the fastest guy at the tournament, okay, and remember, nobody shows up at the tournament who doesn't know how to arm wrestle, okay? That not unless it's at the beginners tournament. Strength, endurance, technical skill, okay, knowing all the different flowing techniques and movements of arm wrestling. You need to know that kind of stuff. Obviously, you need to work your body for arm wrestling. You need to have a lot of wrist strength and all of the different movements of arm wrestling, or else you can't manipulate somebody's arm. But once you get past that, and that's what a lot of pro arm wrestling is you have a whole bunch of strong people all locked in together. They all know all the techniques. They all belong to a training club. They're all very good. They're all very intense. They're all very strong, okay? But somebody in the room is fastest. Somebody in the room will be fastest. And what I noticed too about a lot of really strong people who are, of course, the strength sport. So the stronger opponents you take on, the more dangerous they are because they have perhaps stronger muscles than you. So once they get you into certain positions, you won't be able to win the match. And so you have to stay out of those positions, okay? And so you need to be more crafty. But that's where the speed factor comes in, is that you have to realize something about arm wrestling. And this is something I learned somewhere in my career, was I realized I'm never going to be the strongest guy at the tournament, okay? Well, especially once I started moving up levels, it's like once you get past, the all valley small town tournaments, okay, you're going to start running into people that are stronger than you, and there's nothing you can do about it, especially once you get to the tournament. Once you're at the tournament, what are you going to do about the fact that you're not as strong as your opponent? Nothing. You have to think technically, but think fast. Think fast. Remember, a lot of guys who aren't watching this video, they're going to be working on just their techniques and their moves, and they're going to be getting very strong. You are too, but work on getting extremely fast in the meantime. And I'm going to show you a couple of techniques here in a moment, but I want to come back to what I was saying, and I skipped over that, was something about very strong people. The stronger they get, the more they work on their strength, okay, they can become slow. I can tell you something about a lot of weight training, especially as an exercise physiologist working with a lot of athletes, is if you're working in a speed sport like arm wrestling, okay, there is a problem, okay, is that this is odd for arm wrestling, is it's a very odd sport because you have isometric strength and power, so you need those type of strengths to where you're not moving at all or you're going slow. Like we've all been in those matches where you're just like having a slow pulling arm wrestling match, and that's a lot of isometric strength and power, and there's no real speed factor involved at all, not after the start. But at the start, those same powerful muscles need to instantly be turned on, and then the power can come in. So you have to work on speed and strength, okay? So some of my strength exercises, I can't take those really heavy weights and move them really fast. You just can't do it. When you're working on real power, you're not just going to be like you see the issue. When you're working on real strength, you can't really move it really fast if you're trying to build strength in those areas. But then if suddenly you work with a really, really lightweight, you could move it a lot faster. And the stronger you get, the lighter weights that previously felt strong feel, okay? So by developing strength, even heavy and slow, that's perfectly fine. But what I will say is, over time, if you don't work on the speed aspect of your neurological system, I would say, because it's your muscles and your nerves and everything are working together, but you need to be working on it as a skill. So you can get slower the more powerful you get. And like I said, the stronger you get, the less reaction time you really need, but that's not saying that you still shouldn't try to be first at the arm wrestling tournament. I think that just happens over time. The more skilled people get, the stronger they get, the less they really worry about that super intense start where they act like their life depends on getting the start, okay? And I suggest you actually go to the table and consider it that way at the tournament. where you think no matter what happens here, you're obviously going to try to do all of the right things to win the match, all of the setup, the grip, the technique. You're going to try to choose all of those carefully, the angles. You're going to try to do all of that. But there's still another factor. The match hasn't started yet. It's going to. You need to be set up appropriately, position yourself, anchor yourself, time yourself. And so when the ref says go, you instantly go into action with the move that you've chosen precisely the way you've planned it out, okay? So if you're planning out your hook technique, you got to be in the right position, and then on the go, you go right into that technically perfect position that you've been working on. Don't just try to bend your wrist and start pulling around, okay? Technical, okay, but fast. Okay, so just to kind of cap the video, let me finish with a couple of things, and we'll be working on some speed skills on the table, okay? And I like to do the speed skills on the table as opposed to training with weights and speed skill. I like to do it on the table, okay? So, but what I wanted to talk about, this is something you can do all day long, really, okay? Or at least at certain times, is working on your speed. Is remember what I said about your neurological system, your nervous system, meaning the connection between your brain and your hand, in this case, or your arm wrestling. The connection between your brain and your arm. Okay, that's like your right hand and your left hand. Like if you're right-handed, you've noticed that if you go to do your signature with your left hand, it's not very good. Your ability to throw a baseball really hard with your left hand is not very good at all, but you can throw a baseball really hard with your right. Same thing probably with arm wrestling, right? Where you're probably a lot better coordinated with one arm than another. Your strength level's probably pretty close, actually. I'm right-handed, so my right arm's obviously a little stronger than my left, but it's pretty close strength-wise. But in arm wrestling, I call it my dumb arm, my left arm, because it's just like I use different techniques with my left hand than I do with my right, too, because my right has different abilities than my left, because my left is not as, I haven't used it anywhere near as, and you're the same. You are the same. You haven't used one of your hands or your arms anywhere near as much as you have the other. Okay, like for instance, the hand that you write with, or the hand that you throw baseball with, or the hand that you shake, the hand your dominant hand, okay, has done a lot more work than your non-dominant hand. And how that ties into arm wrestling, obviously, is reaction time as well will be, I really noticed my reaction time on my right is so much better than on my left. And that's one of the reasons I actually employ a different technique on my left hand, which is a totally separate issue. But reaction time, I noticed, is actually very different, and that led me to understanding that obviously the neurological system and the pathways between the arms, the one you've used the most in your life, is going to have much better coordination, but it's also going to have much better reaction time. Okay, and so that leads me into going into just some of the small drills that you can do. I mentioned things that you could do all day, and I really mean that. I just mean like, in terms of getting yourself into position, and like I said, I think these are best on the table because you're positioning your whole body. And if you have a table, you can start doing these right now. You're just not seeing me on the table like I would like to demonstrate. And I'm going to have somebody else take a video so I can kind of show my whole body and show you what I do solo on the table. But this will be at least instructive for you in the meantime, okay? Would be just by yourself. Like I said, this is a solo drill. You don't need to do this with a partner, okay? You should as you get towards tournament time and things like that, but you can just work on these yourself. You're never going to have access to a partner all the time. You're very rarely going to have that, probably, okay? So you need to have things you can work on your own, and this is something you can even do without a table or without any straps or anything like that, is when you're focused on becoming first in arm wrestling, depending on what techniques you're doing, and I suggest practicing for different techniques, obviously, because the initiation for a top roll is totally different than the initiation for a hook. And so you need to be working on those neurological patterns for starting the match. Okay, so without further ado, let's say, for example, and we'll just show two examples here. You're working on your hook start, and you're working on your top roll start, or let's say your hook reaction time, or your top roll reaction time, because all this is positioning quickly. Okay, is quick, 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 quick. And that's why I like to think about just the wrist in arm wrestling, because that's also the easiest way to train for reaction time. Okay, so let me show myself from the side just so you get the idea here. Let's say I was training for the hook and training my reaction time by myself, okay? I'm here, and you can do whatever you want. You can go ready, go, or 1, 2, 3, go, or whatever you want to say, but there's different ways you could do this. Ready, go, 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 go. And you're focusing on quick, 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 quick. Getting your body into that perfect position that you want to achieve on the table. The whole body, though, the whole, not just your whole body into position on your table. Go, 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 go. Okay, same thing for your top rolling movement, just as an example, okay? Your positioning would be, you're trying to get perfect on the table, and that's the whole point of doing the drills on the table, is that you're getting positioning and you're conditioning your body to the table, okay? So when you get up to the table, it's gonna feel exactly the same, and your movement will be the same, your elbow position will be the same, you're gonna put it all in the right spot, you'll get your angles close, you'll get your hand pronated, you'll get your knuckles high, you'll get all these muscles engaged, you'll get your elbow down, okay? But then once you get your positioning right, that's when it's time to work on reaction time, okay? So same thing with the top roll. Ready, go, 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 go. Remember, that's just you're initiating the top roll movement. The hook you're initiating with supination. With the top roll, you're initiating with, let's say you're going for that high top roll, okay? You're initiating with pronation, okay? So supination for the hook, you're initiating with, you're trying to turn the hand. And then with the top roll, it almost starts, I start on a pronated position, so I can't turn my hand any further when I actually do my top roll. So I don't start with my hand somewhat straight, I turn it all the way, I bring my elbow in, and then I start somewhat behind my hand so that my hand is fully pronated. Then I'm going to focus on keeping that locked as hard as I can, keeping as close to my hand as possible, right? And then I'm going to start that movement by driving back and maintaining pronation in this case. So I'm not actually working on trying to do pronation, I'm actually working on maintaining pronation, but the reaction time is the same as you're working on ready, go, ready, go, ready, go, ready, go, ready, go, ready, go, ready, go. And you can work on the movement all the way down, you can work on just the start, and you can work on different positions, okay, depending on what you want to do. And like I said, I'll demonstrate some of those later. But to cap the video, I just wanted to say reaction time is extremely important. Make sure you at least start considering that when you're thinking about your matches, even if you're just training today or tomorrow or the next day. Focus on reaction time. And in training, I always suggest, especially if you're training for tournaments, and I always suggest train the way you're going to start in the tournament, okay? Like, even if you're not going 100%, you can train quick starts with someone right there, ready, go. And they can start you off, and you just try to get the start. Don't worry about all of the rest of the movement. For instance, if you're working on getting into your hook and you're working on reaction time in your training club, this is not, if you're not, remember, by yourself, you can do thousands of repetitions and build your neurological system up to where you can just be like, you can be like a machine gun with your hook, just boom, boom, bam, 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 and get really, 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 really conditioned to do those unique movements of arm wrestling really, really fast. And that's something that I'll find myself doing a lot of, especially as tournament time's coming up and I'm training, is just conditioning my arm for those quick starts right into position all the time, with or without a table, okay? Because your arm's connected to your brain, or your arm muscles are connected to your brain all the time, whether you're on a table or not, okay? But I wanted to say, in terms of training, next time you're at your table, try to have somebody, especially when you're working on reaction time, give that some consideration and try to have somebody start you like they would in a tournament. Ready, go. And then focus on being first. So if you're focusing on your hook, like, for example, with your opponent or with your teammate, okay, ready, go. And you're just try to be first and try to focus on becoming first and getting your hands into a position where you can get to your movement faster than they can get to theirs, okay? And that will really provide a really great foundation for you in the future for your arm wrestling and hopefully for your success. So I'll see you guys in the next one.